Okay, I'm David Johnson. Uh, David, D-A-V-I-D, Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N.
Okay. And now I'm going to have you, that's just for me when I do credits and stuff.
Okay.
So now I'm going to go ahead and ask, who are you? So restate your name.
Okay.
And say like, I am David Johnson. Say your position. I've been here for how many years?
Okay.
It's just stuff like that.
My biography? Okay. Ready?
Go ahead.
I'm David Johnson. I'm president of the Norsk Museum board. It's a museum that's been around for about 48 years, and in dedication of the Norwegians that founded this area, and and the sloopers, Kling Pearson. That's what we're all about, is to honor the ancestors that came here, that broke the ground that we enjoy today.
So now I'll go right into the questions.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about the museum and its history.
Okay. Well, the museum started about 48 years ago, and it was we bought this church that we're in today. It's a Hauge Lutheran church. It was started by Reverend Elling Eilson, that you can't see, and it was let's see, it was the King of Norway came here in 1975 to celebrate 150 years of the sloopers and Kling Pearson first coming to America. And just a few more years will be our bicentennial in 2025. And so the Sons of Norway chapter, Kling Pearson Lodge, purchased this building. This building was built in 1852. It's on the National Register of Historic Buildings. And we made it into a museum, and we've been having visitors coming in every weekend for during the summer months for that long, and we've really enjoy celebrating our history.
Okay. Just a real quick question off that.
Okay.
Is there anything that this organization will do for 2025, the bicentennial, that you would be willing to give away?
To give away?
Kind of like as a
souvenir token?
well, no, as a like, this is what we plan on doing, kind of like a teaser or whatever.
Okay. Well, okay. For our bicentennial in 2025, we are in the middle of Zoom meetings with all the other museums in the country and in Norway, Europe, getting ready for this celebration. And we're meeting quarterly, and nothing has been ironed out definite yet, except for the verbiage of how we want to state everything. But we hope that the royal family would come down here to visit again. That would be quite the feather in the cap. And but we're just a whole lot of activities, which I really can't get into yet because I don't have everything ironed out.
Okay. I was just throwing it out there just in case.
Yeah.
Move on to what is so important about this museum and this organization as a whole.
Well, I have a mission statement, which is probably too long to read, but it's basically we want to honor the ancestors that came here again. Kling Pearson came here in 1833, and then all the other sloopers came from New York, upstate New York, to come here to start this area. And many of their descendants still live in this area, in LaSalle County area. And we one of our main purposes for the museum, our mission, is to teach the next generation about, you know, where they came from, and a little bit about their history and why it's important. Yeah.
Can I have you redo that question but state at the beginning something along the lines like this museum or this organization is so important because.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. So this museum is important to us in the community because of the basically our mission statement is to honor, preserve our heritage and honor the ancestors that came before us, and to teach the next generation of, you know, of where they came from, and give some purpose of why they're here today, and show some pride.
Okay. Kind of touched on that, but I'm going to bring this question up just in case you have something else you'd like to add.
Okay.
Why should people know about this history in particular? Why should people know about the history of Norway or the people that are represented here?
Yeah. Okay, so the question is, why should people know about this particular area and why Norway is important? And
Yeah.
yes. So, you know, the Norwegians were, you know, originally the kids know Norwegians as the Vikings in the Viking era, and that's where we all came from. That's where it started, and eventually the Viking era ended about the year 1000, and so now we're just, you know, the Scandinavians are, you know, 5 different countries, and Norway is one of them where we came from. The first group of Norwegians came to this area almost 200 years ago, and the first group actually came for religious freedom. And there were a group of 53 people on a small boat about half as wide as this building here, and about as long. And 53 came across the Atlantic Ocean, left July 4th from Stavanger, Norway, and then arrived in New York Harbor October 9th, and 98 days over open seas. And they made it all the way without losing a single soul, and which was an accomplishment. And they worked with Cleng Pearson again, who acquired some farmland upstate New York, working with the New York Quakers. So the religious freedom, they were either half Quakers or Hauge Lutherans. So, but the state church in Norway was Lutheran. So to escape persecution, they came over here, and then eventually it started the Great Migration from once they settled in Norway, Illinois. One of the sloopers went back to Norway and to bring back a bride, and in 1835, I think they went back to Norway, and people were just wondering, amazed by, you know, that somebody lived in America for 10 years without being scalped, or, you know, because they just had all sorts of, they didn't know anything about what they were getting into, and they found out about all the open land, farmland and everything, and that started the Great Migration to America. Within the next 80 years, 25% of Norway came over to America and settled, and that was only second to I think it was Ireland had more of their population come to America. So that was all because of Norway, Illinois. You know, the sloopers, and that's, now we're celebrating almost 200 years of this period. So,
So, is there a particular reason why we should learn this history? Is there, does it? How do I ask this question? This is kind of a different question
yeah.
I've written down. Is there like a particular reason that you think, as a volunteer here at the museum, as to why the ordinary person or the person in this community should learn this history? Is there, that reason, like, people should learn the history of Norway, of the people
Yeah.
of Norway, or the sloopers, you said, because, or
Okay.
something like that?
Okay. So, what should people learn about the people that came here? Is that what you're asking? Or?
Yeah, kind of something.
It's Norwegians aren't any better than any other people out there.
I don't mean to cut you off, but
Okay.
can you restate the question, kind of thing like
Yeah, I thought he did. Okay.
Yeah, don't directly restate it, but kind of like in your answer, like the reason people should learn this.
Oh,
history
I
is
see what you. Okay.
because, or something like that.
Okay. Okay. The reason that people should learn about where they came from, and in my case, the Norwegians, is because we're no better than any other country. It's just that we were our ancestors in particular. They came to this area right here, which is just all open prairie, and they made the best of this land to farm, and they were good stewards for the land, and didn't cause any trouble, and they were proud of being Americans, and they learned the language, and we have a whole lot of history that I guess for the sloopers, like for instance, I think 39 of the original sloopers, their children joined the Civil War, and to fight for fight for the freedom and follow Abraham Lincoln in that process. And that didn't make any sense, but I don't really, let's see. When they came to this land right here, they didn't have, there weren't any Walmarts. You couldn't go to Chicago, for instance, to buy goods, because at the time when they came here, Chicago was this a swampy Indian village, and about 20 huts, from what I understand, and then it grew very quickly within the next few years, but with trade on the Great Lakes. But they had to make do with everything that you find here on the property. They had to cut down their trees, they had to make their own soap, they had to make their own tools, and then start farming. As for the pastor here for this church, for instance, he wanted to publish some books to learn the catechism for the children, and he had to walk back to New York and had them published in 1841. And then he was happy with that one, and he walked back in 1842 to publish another book for a different book. So they didn't have anything out here. There weren't any bridges over the rivers this area. They just no transportation basically. All the state of Illinois was only 16 years old when they first moved here, and all the industry was in southern Illinois. Up north here, there was nothing. So, and so they made the best they could, and then Clayton Pearson, again, he saw that this area was filling up quickly, and he started out to Missouri, started another colony out there, another settlement, and then he went up to Iowa, and then started a settlement there, and then there was settlements. Wisconsin was starting to open up. That's another thing, is why they came from upstate New York to this area was because Illinois was about as far out west as you can go at the time in 1833, because across the Mississippi wasn't even open yet. It wasn't even a territory yet, and Wisconsin wasn't even a territory, Minnesota and such. So this is the civilized part of the country, as far out west as you can go at the time.
Okay. What does this museum mean to you? Like, what does this symbolize to you is the best way to put it.
Okay. What does this museum mean to me is it brings me back, 3 of my grandparents were 100% Norwegian, so I'm 3/4 Norwegian, and so it brings me back to what they taught me in particular. My grandmother went back to Norway in the 1960s for her, the first time for her, and she traced our family roots back to the 1400s, and that's brought that back home with her and shared it with me, and it just really, it sparked everything for me. So I wanted to learn more about it, and then when I moved back to this area, I joined the local Sons of Norway Lodge and wanted to learn more and more, and then I was eventually invited to come to the museum and volunteer here. And I really learned, a whole lot. There's a whole lot to see here. Every time I came here, I found something new that I never saw before, and just it's a lot of fun, and meeting new people all the time who have the same background. They want to learn about their grandparents, or ancestors, where they came from, and so we like to just share the story.
Okay. Are there some ways that the public can help get involved, or can help this organization in any way? I guess the best way to put it.
Okay. How can the public help us at the museum is the question.
Like
So
for this, the public can help, or however you want to answer that, but
okay.
you guys can help by supporting or by
Okay.
supporting there's something like that, if that makes sense.
So, the public can help us best by just getting out and volunteering. We're open, the museum is open every weekend for only 4 hours, Saturdays and Sundays, from June through September, and sometimes into October. And just volunteering for 4 hours a summer, you would get so much more out of it yourself, because you learn more just by being here and meeting other people, and I would be out here all the time if I wasn't working full time myself, but I'm still out there, probably every other weekend myself, and it's just a lot of fun, and you meet people with the same interests. And then also we have fundraisers every year too. With the first Saturday in June is our grand opening. We celebrate with the Taste of Norway, or Kumla breakfast, which is Kumla. Kumla is a potato dumpling. It's popular with the Norwegians in this area, and we slice it up and fry it with bacon or ham and eggs and stuff. So it's a delicious breakfast, and that's a fundraiser, one way to support us too. And then in this weekend we're having our annual smorgasbord, which is another fundraiser that we have, and it's so you have kumla and lutefisk and all sorts of other Scandinavian pastries, which people really look forward to. Getting ready for the winter months is when we do that. And then another way is we are always receiving well, financial gifts too, but people want to share their ancestors' mementos, artifacts from their family, and anything that is Norwegian that has a nice story that goes along with it. We'd love to add it to our collection, so everybody can enjoy it.
I think one more kind of difficult, and the last one's gonna be kind of easy.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit more about Smorgasbord and what it is as an event, because I do kind of want to put that into the video.
Okay.
And I would like to kind of label it like, oh, Smorgasbord is, or one of our big events, Smorgasbord is, da,
Yeah.
da, da. However you want to answer that.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Okay. Question is, what is a smorgasbord? I guess, right?
What is the Smorgasbord event that's going on?
Okay. Okay.
So like one of our events that we really like to do is Smorgasbord, and then
Okay.
explain
Okay.
what that is.
So, one of our main fundraisers is in the fall is a smorgasbord, and that is a big banquet that has we serve kumla, which is a potato dumpling, and lutefisk and cod, which are both fish, and with ham and lots of salads and pastries and all Scandinavian, and it's just something that's people look forward to every year for us. And because of COVID, we haven't had one for the last 2 years, 3 years now. So we're all looking forward to having this feast tonight.
Okay. And then one last question. It's kind of an easy question.
Okay.
Could you kind of give like something like the museum is open, da 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 da. We're located at da da da, and then you got. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's donation entry. It's not.
Right.
So if you could word something in like that, maybe, like we are a donation-oriented organization or something like that, or museum, something like that. I give you the leeway with that.
Okay. So our museum is open June through September, every weekend from 1 to 5, and we're all 100% volunteer run, and we ask for suggested donation is $5 for adults and free for children and military. We are located in Norway, Illinois, which is actually, if you go in GPS, it's Sheridan, Illinois, but because we don't have our own post office, it's a very small town. On Route 71, between Yorkville and Ottawa, Illinois. And it's just Google norskmuseum.org is our website. So it's NORSK Museum, one word, .org. And then it'll give you lots of information about what we're all about. You can also get virtual tour of the museum that way, and you can also contact us for questions. We are open year-round by appointment only, but so if since we are only volunteer-run, that you can get a tour and just make a schedule with us, and we're also available for school field trips and whatever you need. Does that answer everything?
Yeah. Anything else that I haven't covered that you want to cover, or anything else that you want to say before we end this interview?
Well, we have I really didn't get into it too much, but we have a self-guided tour book available with 112 different individual sections to see throughout the museum, and the booklet will give you a little description of every single section, and every section is numbered, so it's kind of a adventure trying to find the number, and then if you want to go on a self-guided tour. So there is a whole lot to see in this. It's a small museum, but there's a whole lot packed in there here, and there's always new things. We get things donated every year, and we try to squeeze things in and rotate things. So it's always a little different every year too. But we invite the public to check us out, and if we get a lot of people that aren't Norwegian at all, they just like history, and that's what we have here, and we're just really proud of our little museum.
Okay. That's perfect ending too.
Okay.